Hello everyone, my name is Itmov. In this build guide I wanted to show you what I've been using for quite a while now. In this version of this build, I will focus on Stormwave for map clearing and Tempest Flurry for bossing. For this build you can expect huge explosions from Herald of Ice combined with Herald of Thunder. I mainly like to run breaches, so I wanted to have a strong build to be able to clear them entirely, so this ended up working just fine for me. With this build I must admit that you can even ignore some defensives and still blast maps and breaches without dying often. I have just capped my elemental resistances, but I still don't have Chaos Res capped, and it seems to work just fine for me. One thing that helps a lot is the fact that this build is able to clear maps and clear mobs screens away from my character. Another super helpful thing about this build is that not many undeath effects can do anything to us, as monsters don't even get the chance to explode or leave anything behind because they get shattered and killed instantly. When it comes to abilities, we're using Unbound Avatar with Fire Mastery, Cold Mastery, and Lightning Mastery. At the moment, these are the only support gems that we can use for these skills, but there will be more to come later on. Next one would be Tempest Flurry with Martial Tempo, Conk Effect, and Close Combat. We also have 2 open slots here, but this will be for our gem swap during boss fights. The next skill would be Stormwave, and this is the one that we'll be spamming pretty much all the time during maps. And we're using Primal Armament, Ice Bite, Ambush, Long Shot, and Upheaval. On this one, Upheaval is just a quality of life. I like using it, but if you feel like you need more damage, you can swap it out and have something else. As of the first Herald, we're using Herald of Thunder with Cold Infusion, Cold Exposure, Glaciation, and Cold Pen. Charge Staff, which is our buff, and this is a huge DPS increase for AoE and single target, and we're using Persistence for longer buff effect, Elemental Focus, Culling Strike, Execute, and Rising Tempest. The next one would be Herald of Ice, and this is pretty much our go-to skill whenever it comes to map clearing, and we're using Inevitable Critical, Magnified Effect, Innervate, and Conduction. Another setup for bossing would be Tempest Bell with Rage, Soul Thief for mana regen, Overabundance for more bells, Heavy Swing, and Rage Force for more damage. The next skill we're using is Wind Dancer with Unbreakable and Energy Burial. Overall, this seems to be the best case. Overall, you can indeed try other options with Maim, Pin, but so far this is doing the best. In terms of power charges generation, so we can use our charge staff, we're using Combat Frenzy with Profusion, and this generates frenzy charges, and we're able to convert the frenzy charges into power charges with Resonance in our skill tree. And the last one would be Grim Fist for survival. This will give us a lot of energy shield whenever we're killing monsters and gathering the spirits that they leave behind. And we have Precision here, and it helps out just because we're using projectile skills. So you can swap it out, but so far it works amazing with this one too. In terms of Ascendancies, we're going for I Am the Blizzard, and that would be the first one that I would go to, followed by I Am the Thunder. I'm currently not using this one, but you can totally have this one while leveling and while mapping. After that, you can go through Lead Me Through Grace, as this will allow you to use more skills that use Spirit, as this converts your energy shield, evasion from your body armor into Spirit, but you will not be able to gain Spirit from amulets or armor anymore. After that, we're going into Sunder My Enemies. This will help our crits do more damage and will ignore elemental resistances. And then I'm currently using Unbound Avatar. just because I like the single target damage option that this offers. If you want to have more damage while mapping, then swapping out to I Am the Thunder would be a greater option. When it comes to the skill tree, there is a lot of variety in here, but currently I'm going towards the Crushing Wave, going for Moment of Truth, picking up Essence of the Mountain, as this is a huge DPS increase overall, but in the beginning, while you're leveling, you can go and pick up all these 3 nodes here, Essence of the Storm and Flow State. These will make your leveling experience a lot smoother. After that, we're pathing towards Resonance. And whenever we freeze monsters with Combat Frenzy up, this will turn the Frenzy charges into power charges, and then we will be able to cast Charge Stuff. After that, we pick the crit nodes here. I like to pick them in the options here. You can also go for more crit damage bonus, but I like going for the lower side as well. After that, you can easily go into the quarterstaff nodes. You can go with one with the river, Whirling Assault, and then can path up to one with the storm, but don't pick one with the storm unless you want to press charge stuff less. After that, we're going for crit nodes here, cold damage here. If you have jewels available while leveling, then you can pick the jewel nodes early on. That would be the one here and the one here. And then once you have a body armor, you can improve this with this point right here with Bestial Skin. This will increase the evasion rating from your equipped body armor. After that, we're pathing to Falcon Technique. That's going to give us a ton of attack speed based on our dexterity, so stacking dexterity is also pretty good on this one. And then just general nodes that will add extra damage to your character, extra crit, and last but not least, Coming Calamity. This will increase our damage because we're using Herald skills, and it's overall just amazing. In terms of our skill tree, this is what I'm using currently. There's a lot of options that will involve the points right here, but so far I find this to be the best. Later on, if you have a lot of currency and if you have good energy shield gear, then you can go for Chaos Inoculation, and this will help you out capping your Chaos Resistance, as I currently cannot really cap my Chaos Resistance and I'm still struggling, but because this build is able to kill everything on the screen and because it's a range build, nothing really touches you. So this comes in pretty good and you won't have any problems dying in maps. So far, I'm level 92. I did die a couple of times, but that's just to random mistakes or just because I'm not paying enough attention. When it comes to the gear I'm using, we're going for a quarterstaff with increased fizz damage, added cold damage, added lightning damage, crit damage bonus, increased attack speed, and mana leech. Instead of mana leech, it would be best if I had crit hit chance. That would be a perfect roll, but I'm still looking for one, and the mana leech helps together with soul thief for bossing. As for the runes, I'm currently using increased fizz damage just because my quarterstaff right now has a high fizz damage base. I find it as a better option. If your quarterstaff has more elemental damage, that's perfect. You can swap the runes with crit damage runes or elemental damage to attack runes. When it comes to our helm option, I'm currently using an energy shield one. I do want to swap it out for an evasion just because we're using acrobatics. Because of acrobatics, all the evasion that we can have, it's always good to have because it will increase the evasion and you can dodge everything. I've been using this one just because you can have on your amulet another talent point, Subterfuge Mask, and this will give you evasion based on your energy shield. Next, on the amulet, I'm going for crit hit chance, elemental resistances, because I need to cap my elemental resistances, and rarity of items, because right now rarity is extremely strong, and from what I've seen and from data that I've seen around, having around 150% would be the sweet spot. I'm not there, I'm around 80 or 90%, but I need to improve my gear to get a lot more. As for the points that I'm using in our amulet, I went for Storm Charged, and this can be found over here. This is a really good defensive option. It gives us crit hit chance and increased damage if you've dealt a crit recently. So with this build, we'll be critting a lot, and this will help us a lot more whenever it comes to map clearing and bossing. If you don't know already, you can add another passive skill point on your amulet by running Delirium maps. Those maps will drop distills, and they're called Distilled Guilt, Greed, Paranoia, and a lot more. And what they actually do, you have to right-click on them, and they will open another window, the instilling window, and you can place your amulet inside there, and based on the order that you place them in, you'll get another passive. Right now, my amulet is corrupted, so I need an oil to actually change the point on it. I don't have the oil, I don't know how to get the oil yet, but probably that's from bossing. In order to see what you actually need, what distills you need, all you have to do is go to your skill tree, hold Alt over a passive point, and then it will show you the exact order of distills that you need in order to get that point on your amulet. The rings, I'm currently using Call of the Brotherhood together with the Sapphire ring. Call of the Brotherhood is not really needed, but I really like the defensive potential that this one have, because freeze is one of the best defenses when it comes to a melee/ranged build. If you hit a monster, it will instantly get slowed or frozen, and it will not get close to you. So I always like to convert all my damage to cold, because that's another defensive layer. After that, we have the Sapphire ring. I'm not going to be able to pronounce the name. That's a pretty complicated name for myself. So I use this ring because of the effect that it gives us. So the shatter as though frozen is extremely important, because every single time we kill an enemy that's chilled but not frozen, it will still explode with Herald of Ice as if it was frozen. Other than that, we have the gloves, Hand of Wisdom and Action. With this glove option, you can go for any other offensive option, but right now this is what works for me. You can pick gloves with resistances, life, added damage, added attack speed. You can also roll crit on gloves. So having an option like that would still be great until you manage to get hands like this. I think they currently go for about 5 divines, 6 divines, and that's quite a lot for somebody that's starting new. Other than that, we have the boots with increased movement speed, life, and resistances. I like to use the boots to cap my resistances, so getting a good roll of resistances and life on this one would be amazing. If you don't have the currency, then you'll be able to get more resistances from your helmet and ring if you swap Call of the Brotherhood. That's gonna help you a lot more. Another important thing, it's increased movement speed. This is one of the most important things that you should have, and you should aim for as much movement speed as possible. 30-35% would be perfect, but even 25 just works because we're mostly killing enemies from range. And last but not least, I'm using Headhunter. This is a great option for breaches because breaches spawn a lot of rares, and Headhunter will be able to get a lot of passives from them. But if you don't have the currency for Headhunter, you can always go with an option that gives you more charms, life, and resistances. Actually, going for a build with charms will allow you to be even more defensive because you can use a charm with immune to freeze and immune to stun. And that's going to help your clear a lot more. But currently, I'm able to kill everything instantly because of this belt, so I don't need any other defensive layers, and this does all the work for me. At last, our armor. Currently, I'm using a Mirror Invictus. This is purely for increased rarity and resistances. At the moment, the price for this one is about 5 divines, but until you get here, you can use a regular evasion and energy shield armor, as it will help you a lot with Lead Me Through Grace. This will allow you to add more skills that use spirit. Right now, this is the one that I've been using before, Regalia, and you can opt for higher evasion rating ones just because we're using acrobatics. Alright then, this is the end of the guide that I wanted to make about my build. If you have any more questions, you can leave down in the comments. I will leave in the description a link to my build guide, to the written one. And I'll also add the loot filter that I'm currently using. The loot filter is the one taken from Zizaran, the streamer. I liked his filter and I wanted to edit a bit myself. I will also leave in the description a guide on how you can edit your own loot filter, and it's a guide from Zizaran because he explained everything extremely well, and that's basically how I learned how to edit my own loot filter. I leave everything in the description. Feel free to check all my links, and thank you. Thank you for watching, and like always, like, comment, and subscribe.